Hello and welcome to Getaway Day. My name is Gautam. His name is Mason. And we are into June. We are 2 months into the season already. How does that feel, Mason?
Wild. Happy birth month, by the
Wow.
way. We're going to celebrate it
Oh,
the whole
thank you.
month. You're welcome.
Wonderful.
Um, we have a long time to go before your birthday, but
Yes.
we're starting now.
Yes.
Um, oh, it's already June. We are well past I don't want to say well past. We are at the point where small sample size is no longer a valid argument. We have
For a lot of
two,
things, yeah.
well, for a lot of things, yes. We have 2 entire months of play for most players. Um, for teams as a whole, we're starting to get an idea of who is real, who is not, based on the first couple months of the season. And not gonna lie, some of the stuff I'm seeing, I did not expect.
I feel like this happens every year though. Like this sport is just so unpredictable. I mean, if we look back, like who are leading the divisions right now? Are we surprised by any of those? We're not surprised by the Dodgers. We're not really surprised by the Yankees. But like,
I would say
um,
we're not surprised by the Cubs.
we're not really surprised by the
Now
Cubs.
the Tigers, that's shocking.
That's a big surprise.
Um, the Mets, Phillies, we expected that.
Yeah,
Um,
but a lot of people had the Braves.
True, but we thought it was going to be a three-horse race. And I think the biggest thing there is that the Braves are not even in the conversation.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's the key to that one. It's not who's in the lead, it's who's not remotely close.
And just like the AL East, obviously Baltimore being probably the biggest surprise on the downside, where they're just nowhere in the picture of making the playoffs right now.
Well, and honestly, the fact that Toronto is in second, 3 games above 500, like they're not a bad team. Don't take me saying that. I know you won't, but don't take me saying it like that as like Toronto's a bad team because they're totally not. This is a relatively stacked division, but if you were to ask me at the beginning of the year who's going to be in second, who's going to be 3 games over 500, trying to catch up to the Yankees, my guess would have been the Red Sox. And if
Yeah,
not
I
them,
think
it would have been the Orioles.
that was a very popular pick, and then shifting over to the West, everyone was really high on Texas coming into this year, and they've been a massive disappointment on offense, which is like what is that's supposed to be the strength of their team, and it has not come through.
The most
So,
shocking number, individual statistical number in all of Major League Baseball to me is right now.
what is it?
Number 263. Tell me what that is.
I don't know.
That is the runs scored by the Seattle Mariners. There are only a handful of teams that have scored more. The Tigers, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the uh, Phillies. I gotta. Technically, the Nats have scored more than them by exactly 2 runs.
Hmm.
Uh, and then the Cubs, Cardinals. Like they're a top 10 offense in runs scored. The the Mariners, the team that
Yeah.
we constantly talk about having the worst hitting environment in the league, with some of the least uh run driving in guys in the league. So,
Yeah.
like, based on that, I'm totally not shocked they're at the top of the division. Um, in fact, their pitching's been hurt and
Yeah, so it's
not
but so the way
struggling.
they've gotten there is different than what we would have expected. We would have expected like, oh, their pitching's dominant and their offense did kind of just enough, and that's why they're in first. But it's not really for that reason. It seems it's more their offense carrying the load right now.
Yeah, and George Kirby just came back, and he started out a little bit rough, but he's back. He's finding his groove. Just called up Cole Young. Um,
Yep.
they brought Bryce Miller off the IL. Like this is a rotation that's getting healthier and a pitching staff that's getting healthier. So if the Mariners can just keep up their top 10 run scoring pace, pitching's going to improve. I really like this Mariners team right now.
I would agree. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's like just a very quick whip around the league, just first 2 months, and even though 2 months are in the books, probably a lot of things are going to change. We got 4 months to go. That's the good news.
And not a lot of time left.
Not a lot of time left.
We're getting to the wire.
We're getting to the wire. Playoff chase.
I mean, we're already basically at the point where it's make or break on if the Rockies are going to manage to lose less than 120.
Yeah, every day it's must watch TV. That
9 in 50. 50
50
losses. 50 losses before they get double-digit wins.
Unreal.
That's a record, obviously.
Yeah, I have no words. I got nothing. I'm gonna move on.
I just want to say they're on pace for 137 losses. All right, let's move on.
Okay, so probably the biggest news from the weekend was that Corbin Burnes is injured. His elbow is not doing well. In his own words, he said, "My elbow's done. It's dead," and started to get tight on me, referring to in the middle of his start.
Yeah, so he was
Which,
in the 5th inning against the Nats and was pitching well. It was, I think, 4 scoreless at the time. I think CJ Abrams had just gotten on base, and then he looks to the dugout, calls out the trainer, calls out Torey Lovello, and then says basically, "Yeah, my elbow's done. It's dead." Like he lost velocity and control over the course of like 2 pitches, and then called them out. And he's getting an MRI soon. As far as I'm aware, it has not. Uh, it has not been done yet. We've not seen results yet, at least not publicly. But yeah, this is bad for Arizona. Like they just signed him to a 6-year, 260, 210,
210 something.
or
Yeah.
$10 million deal this offseason. And Corbin Burnes, outside of one kind of injury laden season, has been the epitome of health. Actually, no, not even an injury laden season. I'm thinking someone else that was with the Brewers. Can't think of who it was. But the last 4 years, Corbin Burnes had started 28 games minimum. He's pitched 170 innings minimum over the last 4 years while being incredibly, incredibly good and consistent. And so now losing him after 11 games, he was pitching well again this year. This is a Diamondbacks
especially
team
in especially in recent starts. Like the beginning was a little bit rocky. It wasn't peak Corbin Burnes, but then the last like 4 or 5 starts, I think he had been really good. He started to find the cutter again. It looked like he was gonna start being the ace that they needed and that they signed for the long-term deal. And just bigger picture, this was a move that I applauded that the Diamondbacks made, because they're not like the Yankees or the Mets or the Dodgers, but they still went out and they got a top of rotation arm. And it's unfortunate that he's going to be probably down for a while. I mean, I'm just reading between the lines here. It does not seem like it's going to be a short-term injury.
This is
And then,
unfortunately sounding like a UCL.
yes. And the Diamondbacks, I give them credit because they have tried to spend even above their typical payroll levels, and they keep getting burned by it. And I hope that doesn't become like a reason for them to stop spending, because last year they went and they got Eduardo Rodriguez in free agency, and he got immediately injured and missed most of last season. And then I'm trying to think if there's another guy that they
Uh,
was there another. Oh, it was Jordan Montgomery, who was horrible in his time as a Diamondback before he also blew out his arm.
yeah.
So it's kind of like they have been taking these swings, and I don't think it's a process issue. It's just the guys they got happen to get hurt, right?
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna say
like it,
these are very much like bad luck injuries.
yeah. I
And
mean, it's pitching. It's not
yeah,
even luck.
and
It's like it's pitching.
yeah, and I mean, these are guys who have been workhorses. Like all the guys they brought in are workhorse guys. There's a lot of mileage on those arms, and they've been healthy throughout their careers, and so it's not necessarily a shock to see them have a big injury because it's going to happen at some point. It's almost one of those that makes you think: is it riskier to take a guy with no injury history than it is a guy with a little bit of an injury history?
Yeah.
Because like I would never actually use that as a reason not to go get a top arm. It's a terrible idea. You definitely take the top arm and then you deal with the injury when it happens. But it, like happened
Yeah,
three
but like
times to him now.
on paper though, Corbin Burnes is the safest bet you can make, right?
Yeah,
He's had nothing but health year after year. He puts up like 30 starts a year.
yeah. He
You can
lost
book
he
it.
lost feel on his cutter last year and his strikeout rate went down, but his results didn't.
Yeah.
So,
It's
but
kind of the
now,
same this year.
well, his strikeout rate was coming back up, not to where it was like 2 years ago, but it was up from last year.
Yeah.
Um, so he was definitely figuring something out. And
So,
I'm not sure I would put it past the Orioles to have broken him either.
yeah, and he had to figure things out for himself. I feel like by the end of last year,
Yeah.
and he has showed he could always adapt and do those things. But for the present now, the Diamondbacks have a serious issue because the healthy guys they have left in the rotation have not been performing. Like I do not know what is going on with Zach Gallen. Would you be shocked if I told you that Zach Gallen has given up the fourth most runs in the league this year? The other pitchers in the top five, three of them are Rockies, and one of them is Sandy Alcantara, who's number one in runs allowed. He's been abysmal. That's a different topic. But Zach Gallen, I mean, the guy looks lost
Yeah.
right now.
I honestly don't know how his ERA is as low as a 5.54. Like,
He's had like some random good starts in there.
well, and like the reason I say that is because like Eduardo Rodriguez has been bad. He's rocking a
Is he injured?
7. I think he's
I think
injured
he's
now,
injured.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he's rocking a 7.05 ERA in 45 innings. Like, that's
Yep.
rough. And
And then
Zach
Merrill
Gallen,
Kelly. Yeah,
oh,
go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say Zach Gallen has basically been about the same as Erod right now. But
And
Kelly and Corbin Burnes were the only two guys kind of holding this rotation together.
and now Merrill Kelly himself is getting kind of bombed, and he's not like the type of pitcher like a Gallen or a Corbin Burnes who's like an ace. He's definitely more up and down. He'll have bad starts, and he's generally a solid pitcher, but he's also on the older side. Um, not a super reliable, I guess.
Yeah,
And
and
then
Brandon Fott's not been. He's not
Brandon
taken the
Foss been
step forward.
horrible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's definitely not taking the step forward that we were hoping. He's
I'm
rocking a
extremely disappointed
he's
by
rocking a
Brandon
5
Pfaadt.
ERA, negative .2 WAR, which to be honest, to have negative WAR as a starter is kind of hard.
Ask the Rockies about that. They're pretty good at
Well, that's different. Like if they had
it. Ask,
replacement level players, they wouldn't have already lost 50 games.
didn't I think Kyle Gibson put up like a negative .7 WAR in 3 starts. It was impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, like on Brandon Pfaadt, at the end of last year, it was kind of looking like, hey, Brandon Font might be an up and coming, really good young starter. All his peripherals were saying, this guy's really good. He's really unlucky. He's getting beat by BABIP and left on base percentage and stuff like that. And the first month of the season, um, it was like flipped. All the peripheral underlying numbers said Brandon Fott's like uh, not very good, and then the results are saying Brandon Fott's great. Like he started April with fantastic numbers on the surface, and then in May that's all flipped. Not the peripherals, but the actual results have been awful. Like he's been so bad, and um, I'm beginning to have a lot of concerns about Brandon Fott.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I I can't tell if the Diamondbacks organization just doesn't have the right coaches in place to help these guys or what it is, but it seems like just they've not been able to develop their own guy really. Like Zach Gallen, you can kind of say they did, but he was in the Cardinals organization and then the Marlins organization and then the Diamondbacks organization. Merrill Kelly, yeah, I guess he'd be considered homegrown, but
Hey, it's a good point though because Uh, previously, they had Brent Strom as their coach, legendary pitching coach, and that was when they had the most success with Kelly and Gallen and others. And now he's gone, so it's almost like that's hurting them. And yeah, you're right; they haven't really developed these guys. And who's gonna come and take Corbin Burnes' spot now? I have no idea. Ryan
I
Nelson.
yeah, I guess. I mean, he's got 3 starts this year. 13 appearances, 3 of them as starts. Um and he's been successful so far, but I'm curious if that's just because people haven't seen him yet, so they can't really game plan him. Yeah, they would have seen him for like an inning here or there, but it's not the same whenever you're going to face a dude for an inning versus going to face him for 5.
What's
So
your hat, by the way?
this is the Copa del Mundo Springfield Cardinals hat.
Nice. I can't really see it because my screen's so small, but oh, look at that! Very cool.
Yeah, I love it. Or Copa Americana. I can't remember the name of it, but it's Springfield Cardinals. But yeah,
Yeah,
um,
so we're feeling a little bit bleak about the Diamondbacks. I'm not counting them out though. I think overall they're still a pretty good team and they may be able to weather this. It's going to be harder and they're going to have to get some surprises from the guys that fill in for Corbin Burnes.
yeah, and this is a Diamondbacks team that has a pretty solid lineup. So like, if that
Yeah.
lineup keeps producing, they will keep them in games. Assuming that the pitching staff can not give up 6, then they'll probably be okay. Because Corbin Carroll has been very good this year after a disappointing second or sophomore season last year. He's up to 16 homers, 10 stolen bases. He's walking a lot more. Geraldo
He's
Perdomo
fine.
is
He's a superstar, yeah.
yeah. Geraldo Perdomo is just looking incredible somehow. I don't know how. It doesn't make any sense. Ketel Marte is still doing Ketel Marte things. Um, One of the most underappreciated, like, star level players in the MLB. Um, Gino Suarez just casually has 16 home runs. Like, this is a lineup that's driving in a lot of runs. Like, they've almost scored 300, which to have 300 runs put up or at this point this season, that's a lot. There's only, I think, 4 teams that have eclipsed the 300 mark. 3 3. There are 3 teams that have eclipsed the 300 mark. And
Yeah, so that's going
Detroit
to keep
and
them
Arizona
alive.
are tied for next.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so we're not counting them out yet, but
But
becomes difficult.
it has been a rough 11-17 May that took them from being right there at the top with the Dodgers to now being pretty like solidly in fourth place.
Slightly buried, yeah.
Yeah, they're 5 games behind the Giants for third. So
Tough division, too.
yeah,
Okay, so we have got a big prospect call up coming tomorrow for the Kansas City Royals. They are bringing up
we wait one series.
what you don't want to see Jack Caglione
I,
against your team?
I want to see Jack Caglione very badly. I do not want to see Jack Caglione tee off against the Cardinals in his first first series in the majors.
Yeah. So I kind of have two thoughts on Jack Caglione. So one, obviously he deserves it. He has been killing it in the minor leagues. I got numbers here for you. Um, 22 years old. He's got 50 games played between Double A and Triple A this year. 15 homers, 41 runs scored, 56 RBI, and triple slash of 322, 389, 593. So this guy is just murdering the ball, and he didn't really slow down at all once he got promoted to Triple A. I think he's played about 15 games there now. Uh, and this is the reason he was the number one selection by the Royals last year, top 10 pick in the draft, and obviously a very quick mover through their system. Uh, so
Yeah,
that's cool.
and I mean the other thing to remember here is this is a guy that was at Florida a two-way star. Like he was at the time of being drafted, there were teams that were considering leaving him a two-way and letting him develop his pitching because his bat was already there. And he's shown that obviously now in what is that? 79 games in the minors since college. That's it. He's shown the bats there. He's not at a WRC plus below 157. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so but they are just using him for his bat now.
Yeah.
And that was one of those that I think people last year thought he was going to keep going, but it was very evident from day one that the Royals wanted him as a first baseman for his bat. He was not going to pitch. This is a dude that very much. So I think that's the cool thing and gives you a little bit more of a insight into how good he actually is at hitting because it was a very legitimate conversation about do you let him do both or do you just put him
Yeah.
in the majors as soon as you possibly can because he is going to be basically the spark plug, the power unit of this Royals team. So him and Vinny
Yeah.
Pasquantino and Bobby Witt Jr. Those guys are all hitting. This takes a really lackluster lineup in Kansas City. Makes it look kind of scary,
Yeah.
assuming
And
that he adjusts.
I think just compared to the Diamondbacks, this feels like the opposite club, the Royals. They've got really good pitching, and the offense is not good. It like there's no way around it. It's a bottom five offense. They've got Bobby Witt, but then outside of him, they don't have a lot. And you kind of mentioned that he's a first baseman by trade. I don't think he's going to play first base. I think he may DH. He may play the outfield actually because outfield has been the just the death spot for the Kansas City Royals. Hunter Renfroe recently got DFA'd. They're rolling out Kyle Isbell and Drew Waters and others that just have not hit at all. So it'll be interesting to see how Jack Caglione can adjust to playing the outfield because he hasn't really done that. He's a very very large human. He's 6'5", 250. So that might be interesting. Uh, it also feels sort of desperate. Like the Royals need this guy to be their savior, and it's more likely that he's gonna not live up to those expectations initially,
Yeah.
and
Like,
people are gonna be really disappointed by him.
and to be honest, that's exactly what this is desperation. Like this is a club that has managed to hold on to a 500 record. They're 2 games above it, 31 and 29. Um, but there's only one team in baseball that has scored less runs than the Royals.
Who is that? The Rockies.
There you go. Now, technically, they are tied with the Pirates for the second least runs scored.
Yeah.
194.
Wow.
So pretty anemic at this point in the season. I think. Let's see. I go into projected standings. Let's see what the Royals runs per game is. Runs scored per game 3.2. Um, runs
Yeah, that's
allowed
not
per
gonna get it
game.
done.
Now, mind you, you said this is a very good pitching team, right?
Yes.
So if I tell you that they have a higher runs allowed per game as one of the best pitching staffs than they do runs scored, what does that tell you? Kind of
What is the
amazing that
runs
it's
allowed
amazing
per
they're
game?
above 500.
What is the runs allowed per game?
3.35.
Wow, yeah. I mean, that's a fantastic mark.
It
They're
is.
basically so if those are so close to each other, they're basically making other teams' offenses look like their own offense.
Yeah. And so they're hoping that Cags can drive in some runs. Really, they're just looking for the home run stroke. Just because they're not getting guys on base. If they were, they'd be probably driving them in with base hits and things, but that's not been the case for them. They're just looking for someone who could just put the ball over the fence, put a run on the board, and help support this pitching staff that's been very, very good.
Yep.
It's
Wow.
I kind of feel bad for him because this is a lot of pressure on a dude who is going to take a minute to adjust. Because we talked here a couple weeks ago, don't even use the same ball in the minor leagues. So this is going to be a tough adjustment because that ball is going to move entirely differently.
Yeah, I could see him struggling with strikeouts to start off with. Just knowing his profile as a big slugger type, I feel like that could be the adjustment for him. But quiz question: do you know who the two hitters for the Royals that are above average this year by WRC plus?
Bobby Witt Jr.
Yep.
And I think I've seen this a couple weeks ago. Isn't it like Nicky Lopez or someone weird?
No, Nicky Lopez is not a Royal anymore.
No. Well,
But it's
but it,
actually Michael Garcia who has a 139 WRC plus, which is better than
really,
Bobby Witt. Yeah.
the guy that I trashed all offseason because he does not have a bat. That guy?
Yeah, he's basically having a major breakout this year.
Interesting.
He's got 5 homers, 10 steals, just a 15% strikeout rate,
They
and
have
he's
like
hitting
8 caught
316.
stealings though.
I don't know.
7 caught stealings.
Okay, so he's not a particularly good base dealer.
Yeah.
But
He's
yeah, I
he's
mean,
fast.
when Vinny Pasquantino and Drew Waters and Kyle Isbell and all these guys who are collecting all these plate appearances are putting up below average numbers, it's like going to be very hard to score runs. But okay, well, all
But
the best to him, but it seems like a very tough situation
I
to
do think
debut.
that he has an opportunity to come out of the gate tomorrow against Andre Palante, and if Andre's on one of his off days, uh, Cags is gonna go yard, and that'll be that'll be big for his confidence.
Yes, yes,
So,
indeed.
you know what? Actually, let's do it because I think Jack Caglione is going to be a Hall of Fame first baseman. And
You
so
heard it here first.
let's go ahead and give him that home run and his first at bat against my Cardinals. Let's do it.
All right. I feel like you're trying like some sort of reverse jinx at the moment.
I mean, maybe I
You're
do
not going
think
to admit it.
I do think he has the potential to be very very good.
Absolutely, yeah. No question about it.
But yeah, I don't want him to be
Um,
good tomorrow
fair.
or Wednesday or Thursday.
After that, though.
Yeah, after that, absolutely. Yeah. There's only going to be 6 games a year that I want him to suck. Conveniently for him, there's only 3 left for this year.
Another hitter who is really good uh, has been dealing with injuries this year, and this story took a unexpected twist, I guess, in the recent days. So, Yordan Alvarez, he's been out for about a month with a hand injury,
Uh
and
exactly a
you got
month today.
yeah, and in the last couple days, we figured out that he actually has a fracture in his hand. And you've got some of his quotes here. I don't know if you want to pull those
Yeah.
up and
So, which ones? Which ones? Um let's start here. It doesn't surprise me that it was fractured. I knew there was something there on my first MRI with the muscle strain, but that's what I was dealing with was the muscle strain. Time passed and it was supposed to get better, but it wasn't like that. I knew I couldn't go out there and support 3 or 4 games out there. So, and this is after saying that he didn't think it was going to be something big, but he had a hand injury, kept playing through it, and thinks that that caused possibly a stress fracture. Well, now he got his original imaging on the 6th of May. Um,
yep.
he then didn't get imaging done again until this past Friday when they revealed the actual break. That's 3 weeks. Like the inflammation and swelling went down. They didn't do any sort of imaging or test to see if perhaps there was something underneath the initial swelling. They were just going, yeah, it'll be fine. Just day to day, it will be fine. And now they show that the fracture is already 60% healed, 60% remodeled, which means that that thing was broken a while ago, and it has been slowly healing.
Yeah.
Why
And
did we not know about this a few weeks ago? This is the maybe less severe version of what happened with Anthony Rizzo last year. Rizzo's was a concussion, so infinitely worse. Because that can have serious long-lasting damage. Where he was playing through a concussion and it never got better, and like a month later, they finally admitted it was a concussion and he was out for the rest of the year, basically.
yeah,
Um,
but I guess the difference between that one was because Rizzo like kind of demanded that he continue to play through it. This one's like I don't know. The one that obviously is coming to my mind is the Kyle Tucker situation from last year because it's the same organization that's seemingly mishandling these injuries where Tucker's injury was like supposedly a very simple, just a bruise
yeah,
on
just a
his shin,
bone bruise on the shin.
and he was going to
Heal in
be
a couple
fine
weeks.
within days or weeks. And then 3 months later, or almost 3 months later, they revealed that he actually had a hairline fracture in that shin that forced him to ultimately miss 3 months of the season. And there's no reason they should be secretive about these injuries because it's not in their interest, it's not in the players' interest, it's not in their fans' interest. They have a better explanation if they can fully explain the nature of the injuries, and it's weird that they're not figuring these things out immediately because they should want to know.
Yeah, like it. We were talking about this before we started recording, but the sooner you know that there is a substantial injury that is going to take a lot of time to heal, the sooner you could place that player on the 60-day IL to be able to get some more reinforcements up to help. Because like day to day, like being out day to day, kind of hurts your team because you're playing with 25, 24 if someone has the off day. And so going on the IL gives your team an opportunity to bring someone in to help keep people fresh, to just be able to keep producing while you're healing. And with an injury like this, like Kyle Tucker's last year, it took them like a month to put him on the 60 day. Like that was basically 30 days that they could have had another player come up and take that spot. And they
Well,
just
that's not necessarily true, but it doesn't really matter if you're on the 15-day or 60-day.
I,
You don't lose the
so
roster
the
spot for
60 day
that.
you can have another player on the 40 man is
Yeah,
is
but
the
that's not
benefit there.
necessarily like they usually won't do that unless it's forced, right?
Yeah, but I don't know. These lengthy injuries, I think it makes more sense to me to just acknowledge he's going to be out for
But that's the
60
thing.
days.
I don't think they knew. They literally legitimately may have thought that it was a lesser injury than it actually was, and they weren't trying to mislead. They just didn't know. So my question is for the training staff, are they like not competent or are they getting like overruled by people that don't understand the medical aspect of it?
So on Saturday, I think this is maybe interesting. Saturday, Dana Brown, the head of baseball operations, basically gave a radiology lesson to reporters to try and explain how they didn't catch this before. He said, quote, I think part of the problem is twofold. You don't see the calcium or callus buildup until 5 weeks or so, and that's part of the problem. When you do these imagings and you have so much fluid and inflammation, it's very, very difficult to diagnose it. Even with multiple opinions, it's very difficult to see. Problem is, Dana Brown is a baseball guy and not a medical professional. Um, you don't have to wait to see the healing of a bone to know the bone was broken. So that part of his comment is bullshit, completely and utterly. But there was a point where Alvarez actually went and got a second opinion. Um, but I guess before that, Dana Brown had mentioned that basically Brown himself and Alvarez's agent provided the second opinion. These are not medical professionals.
Yeah, it's absurd.
I mean, about the
And
only thing that they could diagnose is an entire limb missing from your body. That's it.
yeah, and that makes me think like we talk about injuries on this podcast all the time because players are constantly getting hurt, but how much more stuff do we not know about that is going on behind the scenes? I'm thinking about this other situation with the Phillies and Christopher Sanchez. So Christopher Sanchez had a start earlier this year where his velocity dropped by like 2 or 3 miles per hour, and he ended up coming out of this game. His forearm and his elbow were hurting, and the Philadelphia Phillies, uh, they decided to not get imaging on Christopher Sanchez's elbow, and he didn't go on the IL. He, I think, he had a few extra days off, and he just made his next start, and he's continued to make starts, but his command has like completely fallen off. He's kind of like a command artist, and he just hasn't had it since that start. But it's just mind-boggling that they wouldn't get imaging done on Christopher Sanchez's elbow after he left to start with reduced velocity and pain in said body part. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
remarkable to me.
That's almost the same situation Corbin Burnes had. And luckily, Corbin Burnes is high profile enough that he can kind of boss the franchise around, and the franchise should probably just want to get it imaged anyway, to protect themselves. But so like Burns was able to just take himself out of the game. Good, he should have, because he wants to protect himself from getting further injury. And he's getting his MRI. But yeah, with Christopher Sanchez, why not? It takes an hour.
Yeah, why not?
It takes an hour.
Yeah, it's just as as data driven, as tech driven as these franchises are, they still make really boneheaded decisions that just are unexplainable.
Ready for Mason conspiracy theory time?
Go ahead.
Welcome to Conspiracy Theories with Mason.
Woo!
Woo! Um, I honestly think this is one of the one of the ways that owners are trying to save money. Because there's a lot of things that, like growing up, I was just told to rub dirt in it if I got hurt. Obviously, that's not like a legit go pick up dirt, rub it in your injury. Those of you that are unaware with the phrase. But basically, it's just kind of suck it
Take
up,
it off. Move
shake it
on.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, drink some water, rub dirt in it, you'll be fine. Um, it's kind of those clubs doing that same thing because medical treatment is expensive. Problem is, they own all the equipment. It's not expensive for them because they already own the equipment. The only thing that
Yeah.
would be expensive for them is the rehab, which they also provide.
Yeah, I
So
know. I guess
it's like
why did they not want to know? It's like they don't want to know by not getting the imaging.
I think they don't want to be liable for if something happens, and like I fully believe this is like an insurance culpability thing.
It may
And
very well be, yeah.
like obviously we don't understand the inner workings of baseball at that level. Um but I think it's a business decision. That one of them that is made with a spreadsheet and not looking at the person and not looking at the product that's affected by this decision. Like it's like when a company has a part that constantly fails, but they decide that it's just going to be easier to keep paying to a warranty to replace the part instead of if
Yep.
they just fix it once, then they don't have to pay warranty for the next 20 years. Like
Yep. Did
it,
Christopher Sanchez get his extension? Did he get an extension last year?
thought so.
I thought so too. So he should have all the more like motive to yeah, he signed a 4-year extension with club options for 29 and 30. So he's already paid. He should take the Strider approach, being proactive. Strider obviously got like the internal brace surgery without getting the Tommy John because he was kind of at risk of
Blowing
blowing
out his
out
arm.
his elbow. Yeah, so like obviously he lost the time, but Christopher Sanchez has no he's not like pitching for a contract. So it makes even less sense
Yeah,
now.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. That's just making me mad. Let's talk about great pitching performances over the weekend. So 2 complete games occurred over the weekend. One is a more standard complete game for Amber Valdez. It was an interesting game because the very first batter of the game, the very first pitch, in fact, Framber Valdez gave up a home run to Jose Caballero into the Crawford box. And
As one
then
does.
from that point on, 82 pitches, he got through the remaining 9 innings of the game and he gave up 2 hits and no runs. He was absolutely dominant. And he's now leading the league in complete games with 2 on the year. Um, he's kind of locked in and just doing Framber stuff that he's been doing for years now. He's one of the most reliable, underrated pitchers, I think, in the league.
I was gonna say Framber is no stranger to complete games and just deep outings. He's
He's like old
frequently
school
he's frequently one of the top innings guys
innings
of the
pitch.
season, and
Yep.
he's not pitched a full 33 starts yet. But he's
Huh.
eclipsed 200 innings once. He got to 198 the year after that, both on 31 starts, which is a full season minus a start or two. 176 last year. Like, this guy is a workhorse. And last year's 176 was in 28 games. So his innings per start is like 6 plus.
He always goes 6 plus. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
much guaranteed. He's a quality start machine.
With an ERA that's not been over 3.45 since the COVID season.
Yeah.
So he's a very, very good pitcher. Not surprised to see this start from him in the slightest.
Yeah. The other one though, that was really something.
The other one, I don't get that at
So
all.
it was a blowout game. I don't know if it was a blowout the whole way through, but at some point the Rays ended up tacking on a bunch of runs, and they ended up scoring 16 runs in this game. And their starting pitcher was Zach Littell, and Zach Littell's he's having a pretty good season. He's a very weird pitcher to me. He doesn't really have swing and miss stuff. He doesn't really have velocity or anything, but he just goes out there and he pitches 9 innings. He gives up 3 runs, and he does it on 117 pitches. So it was like, okay, just let Zach go, and why
So
not?
this game was actually 4-3 until the sixth inning.
Okay.
And then in the sixth, the Rays put up a fifth run. Then in the seventh, they put up a 6 spot. The eighth, they put up a 3 spot. And the ninth, they put up a 2 spot to end up winning 16-3. But yeah, like, I I watched the last inning of that game because like I saw the score and it's like this is insane. Like, what is happening here? And then I look at the pitch count for Littell and he was at 113, 114. This is the
It-
Rays. They don't let guys pitch 100 pitches.
my only theory on this is, okay, what are your thoughts on Zach Littell's pitching delivery? Because I
And
have my
you're
thought is that
you're asking me to remember what one guy's pitching motion is. It's
you
not
were
one
too
of the
busy
Rogers
looking at
brothers.
you were too busy looking at the very elevated pitch count. But my thought on Zach Littell's delivery is that it's extremely low effort. Like, he barely looks like he's trying at all. It almost looks like he's just lobbing the ball in. Like,
Let me just watch it real quick.
tell me if I'm crazy here. Like, it looks like one of the lowest stress pitching deliveries in the league right now. And it's not like he's throwing hard either. So it just all makes for less stress on the arm, I suppose. And the Rays are okay throwing him for 117 when some of their other starters don't even go 90. The more high octane
Oh,
Taj Bradleys.
yeah, he looks like he's uh just doing soft toss.
Yeah, exactly.
How hard does he throw?
He throws about
73?
93.
This
Yeah,
took a
it's a low effort 93.
this took a turn. So I'm just watching this again. Is it just
It's weird, right?
can I throw 93?
You might go out in your backyard and try that pitching delivery and see what happens.
No, you remember what happened at Fenway. We're not doing that again.
Okay, you're going straight to internal brace after one more throw.
Well, it's my shoulder that's the problem. Can I get a
Oh
like
no, then
is it a PRP injection?
all right, let's do it.
Yeah, I need one of
And then
them.
we'll go right back to Fenway Park.
Oh yeah. You think I could get it over 35 mile an hour this time because I don't spike it into the ground and it bounced back up?
Yeah, it'll be close.
I think I could hit at least 41 if I actually hit the back.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. So, well, we got 2 complete games. I think the total this year is like less than 10. Only Framber has more than 1. But definitely Zach Littell, and there was one other weird name on the list, but I think Zach Littell is probably the most surprising guy to have thrown a complete game this year.
So there are five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 complete games this year. Um, Three of them have been for Houston.
Hunter Brown?
I would assume.
Oh,
Yes, Hunter
okay.
Brown does have one. Um, I do know that for a fact. San Diego has two, and the Detroit, Tampa because of Littell, Texas, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis all have one.
I know a lot of those complete games. I think it's Paul Skeens, Eric Fetty, Tarek Skubal, and
Littell, obviously,
Littell. The Padres one, I don't remember who that was.
and then we've got Framber, Hunter
And
Brown,
then
and Hunter Brown again. I think maybe.
Nathan Evaldi.
Oh, Ivaldi
Framber
had
had
the one for
2.
Texas.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Framber had two. Hunter Brown had one. Gotcha. So
Yep.
the Padres is the only ones we don't know.
Yeah.
Is Musgrove healthy?
Nope. He's been out all
It
year.
was Dylan Cease.
I don't think so. He has not been good this year.
What else do they have in their rotation?
I think one of them was like Steven Kolek, but that was actually like a rain shortened start. It wasn't an actual complete game because I
Ooh.
cannot imagine he actually threw a complete game.
Oh, does Pavetta have one?
Possibly, yeah.
Game. Yes, Kolek has one. Um, at least officially in the books. And it is not Pavetta. So it's going to be either Dylan Cease or Randy Vasquez or someone who's hurt.
Hmm, okay.
Not Cease.
Oh, it could be Michael King.
Oh,
That would be the most likely
that
guess.
sounds familiar. It is Michael King. Good call.
Yeah. So kind of a thing of the past, but it now makes the complete games more valuable in my opinion because it's like, okay, this guy most likely dominated. This Littell one is sort of the exception to that
Yeah.
theory.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
giving up 3 runs is not a bad game by any means.
but how many times do you give up 3 runs and then pitch a complete game? That almost never happens.
Yeah, that part is the weird
Yeah.
part. But like it's not like it was a bad game that he just
No, no.
also finished. It just
Yeah.
wasn't a stellar game.
Right. Yeah.
It was very much a 60s complete game is what that was.
Pretty much. Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, this wouldn't have been shocking in the slightest. Probably like even 30 years ago. Yeah.
Probably about that, yeah. Early 90s. Oh,
I'd
early
say so.
90s.
Yeah. Okay. A couple more topics here. The Dodgers and the Yankees. They played a weekend series in Los Angeles, and I mean, this is like the best matchup that we're gonna see for a regular season game, right? It's a World Series rematch, and it did not disappoint in terms of like just crazy stuff happening because right there in that first game on Friday, Judge hit a homer, and then Shohei followed it up with another homer to match him in the bottom of that first inning. And then he would go on to hit another homer later in the game, and they ended up coming back and beating the Yankees that game. They went crazy on Saturday, scoring 18 runs, and then Judge did all the scoring for the Yankees by scoring 2 home runs himself.
So, here are all of the home runs that happened in that 18-2 game. Uh,
Let's see if I can remember them.
all
Uh,
right.
so Max Muncy, I think, hit 2 homers in that game.
He did. Do you know when?
He hit one in the first inning,
Second inning.
second inning, and then he hit one like maybe in the fifth inning later.
Fifth inning. Yep.
Yep. And then did Andy Pajes hit a homer in that game?
He did.
Okay. And then
Seventh inning for Pajes.
did Freddie hit a homer?
Freddie did not.
Freddie did not.
2 rookies went deep.
2 rookies. Dalton Rushing hit one in garbage time off a position player.
He did.
And
in
then,
the 8th inning.
8th inning.
And then you're missing a second inning home run.
Another rookie?
Yes.
Okay. Who's another rookie on the Dodgers? I am not thinking of him right now.
Sung Kim.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he hit his second of the season. Which Dalton Rushing, that was actually his first career home run. And it was off a position player.
Yep.
So that's got to be a fun one. Aaron Judge hit 2. Obviously, he hit one in the 4th inning off of Landon Knack. And then he hit one in the 8th off of Chris Stratton, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, Judge, 21 homers. And he's in 3rd place.
Unreal. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I guess we should talk about that guy who's leading the major leagues in homers.
Shohei Ohtani? No, that's not
nope.
right. Nope.
That's not right.
Big dumper.
Big dumper himself. Cal Raleigh, 23 home runs in, I don't have his numbers up, but
23 home runs in 58 games. That is 253 plate appearances.
Wow.
Would you like to
Can
know
you
how
give
many
me some
plate
other
appearances?
numbers?
Yes, give me 1 second because I want to compare the plate appearances versus home runs to Aaron Judge. Notorious big like home run every 8 plate appearances guy in Aaron Judge, right?
Yeah.
Judge has 21 in 262 plate appearances. So 10 more plate appearances for Judge, 2 less home runs. But yeah, Cal Raleigh is just casually slugging 637. He is batting 264, the 379 OBP, and a 637 slug, good for a 188 WRC plus. He has 3.8 FWAR, and an actual significant portion of that 3.8 is also defensive as a catcher. He's a positive defensive WAR catcher who is casually on pace to destroy, not just beat, destroy Salvador Perez's home run record for a catcher.
He's the record holder. How many homers did he hit?
He passed Johnny Bench, right? It was 49, 50.
Oh, he had that one crazy year. That's right. Was it like 49?
I think it might have been like 51.
Was it really?
No, it was 48. 48.
Did Mike Piazza not have like a 50 homer season?
I think Johnny Bench had the record. Johnny Bench.
I'm not prepared here, but
Bench had 45 home runs in 1970. Mike Piazza might have done it, but if he did he play any seasons where he wasn't a primary catcher?
I think he played like first base maybe at the end of his career.
So actually, Mike Piazza hit 40 twice, but he never eclipsed 40.
Huh, okay. Well, yeah, this is wild that Raleigh is doing this right now. Also, does he even get days off? Like, he's a catcher and he's played a lot of games. 23 he played 145, 24 he played 153. So he's like the most durable catcher in the league who barely gets days off.
So he has played all all. Now I got to check and see how many games the
The
um
Mariners have played.
yeah. But he has played 58 games. 46 or 40 45 of those he started at catcher, and then he came in as a defensive replacement at catcher for
And he probably
so
DH the others.
yeah,
I
he's
assume.
DH the other 12 basically. Um but he has already caught 407 in two-thirds innings.
Yeah,
Um
but I really need to do a little more digging here because I'm looking at just simple stuff like strikeout rate, which is still 27.3%. And it's not like he's running a crazy BABIP. In fact, his BABIP is 273 this year. What has changed? Like, what is Big Dumper doing to just go ballistic like this?
okay, so I have checked. Seattle Mariners have played a total of 58 games. Big Dumper has played every single game, and he is their primary backstop. But yeah, his outside swing or outside the zone swing percentage is about 5% lower than usual. So I think he's getting better quality contact. His zone contact rate is also the highest it's ever been.
Yeah.
Um, his called strikes plus whiffs is the lowest it's ever been. So basically, I think he's just being more selective and making cleaner contact whenever he makes contact. His Yeah, his swinging strike rate is 13.3%.
Yeah. But
Fairly low.
they're all like small differences. I don't feel like he's a different player. He's the same player.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I don't think he's a different player in general either. I mean, like he's been a massive power guy his entire career. 27 home runs as a rook, um 30
Then
home
30 and
runs,
34. Yeah.
34 home runs. Now he's at 23 already. Um but yeah, just he's being more patient and I think selecting better pitches. It's really all that it is.
Yeah. So I think overall, like nothing's fundamentally changed. He's the same player, but I think uh, people are realizing like how good this guy is. He's been so consistent his whole career,
I mean,
and now
how
he's just
many catchers can you think of that blew past 100 career home runs in 4 seasons?
yeah. That does not happen.
It did Buster Posey even do it? I don't
No
think he
way.
did.
Buster never had this type of power.
Like
He may have had 130 homer season in his career, right?
Buster only had 158 career home runs. He
He
had
was not a
24
power guy.
homers in 2012, which was his career high.
Yeah.
But yeah, like modern catchers
Any
hitting
catchers.
hitting 100. Well, Piazza had 450 career home runs. Johnny Bench had a lot. Like I think it's modern catchers. Um,
Well, I guess isn't Mike Piazza a modern catcher?
yeah, I guess that's fair. I was thinking
I was
guys
gonna
who
say,
didn't play in like the late 80s, 90s. I was
but
thinking
there's
like
more offense for catchers now than there was like before the modern era.
true.
But this guy's special. Like he's actually like on pace for one of the craziest catcher offensive seasons ever.
I
And
kind
when
of
you
think he's on pace for one of the best catcher careers right now.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
mean, he's incredible defensively. The bat was
right.
just kind of an added bonus.
Yeah.
He
And
when you look at historically, the average WRC plus for a catcher is 90. Catchers are expected to be 10% worse than the average player, but they make up for it with defense. Cal Raleigh has been at his lowest in a full season, 113. So he's not just 13% better than the average player, he's like 25% better than the average catcher.
Yeah, no question about it. And then yeah, you're right about the defense. He's who's a better defensive catcher in the league right now?
I honestly could not give you a name. Cal Raleigh
Yeah.
has like 25% caught stealing. He is great with his pitching staff, and you could give a lot of credit to that staff probably, because they're incredible. But like his receiving and framing rates and everything are like the highest in the league. He's going to be the guy that suffers the most with any kind of automatic ball strike system because of
Could
just
be,
how
yeah.
good he is at his thing. Now, I will say there is one other guy that I think is equally good defensively. And
Moreno.
uh no, I'm actually thinking Patrick Bailey.
Oh yeah, Bailey. Bailey's probably up there, probably comparable
Uh
defensively, but obviously
this year Patrick Bailey is about 3 times more valuable defensively than Cal Raleigh. The problem is that he's got a 43 WRC plus.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And kind of as before this episode, I was kind of thinking like about Cal Raleigh, and he wasn't like the most heralded prospect. I think he was like a high round pick. And if I remember right, his reputation was like this guy's a really good defender and he's a power hitting catcher. And we've seen that like type of player many, many times before where, okay, this guy does a couple things well, but he's not like a, a complete hitter.
so I
But this
have
guy's
his
just
2021 prospect report.
all right.
So, in 2021, he was the number 5 prospect in the franchise. Which I think a couple of the guys that are on the pitching staff now were part of that top 5. Mostly Logan Gilbert is who I'm thinking there. He was ranked 85th overall as far as top prospects. He had a future value of 50. And at the time, they were grading his future values for hit at 40, game power at 50, raw power at 55, speed at 30, and fielding at 45. And I would say they pretty much nailed it with the hit tool. Game power, they drastically underestimated him. That's like 55 to 60 value, isn't it? Like 30 homers regularly.
Big Dumper's power in games right now.
Yeah,
It's like a 70, I would say.
yeah. Raw power, the dude's about a 70 or an 80.
Yeah.
Fielding, I'd say he's probably 50 or 55.
At least. Yeah, he's well above average.
Yeah. So he definitely did not have the prospect pedigree that you would expect seeing what he is now. Um, but he was still a good prospect, top
He
100
was
in
a
the
good
league.
prospect, yeah.
But he was a third round draft pick, 90th overall in 2018.
But that's the thing, you don't when you're prospecting, you do not project this to ever happen for any guy. Like it's that's why we're talking about it. That's why it's so amazing. And is he going to do it? Is he going to hit 50 homers as a catcher?
Man, I kind of think he is.
It would
Like,
be awesome.
I would love that.
Yes,
Is
I would love that too.
I really like Cal Raleigh. Like he's
Yeah, he's
never done
awesome.
anything like publicly that would make you dislike him.
Yeah, actually, you love him for the things he has done publicly. He's called out the franchise for not like getting better players.
Yeah, and he just seems like a genuinely good guy, which makes it so much easier to root. Like you get a guy like A-Rod who A-Rod was incredible. A-Rod also needed validation of others. And so he had that ego with him. Cal Raleigh does not have that ego. He is leading the league in home runs. And to be honest, unless you're paying attention, you would not know. Like,
Yep.
so it's incredible to me. I love that guy. He is actually already about to eclipse his overall WAR totals for 2022 and 2023, and we're not even 60 games into the season. And he's had like all-star levels of WAR every the season of his career. Like this is arguably going to be an 8-9 WAR catcher season.
Yeah.
You know how unheard of
And
that is?
it is, yeah, it's absolutely unheard of.
What was Salvador
Um,
Perez's
it was not good because he was not very good defensively at the time, and he does not provide a
anything
lot of
but
value
power?
beyond the power. Yeah,
Uh,
and there's
2.7
yeah, and the other, I guess the one other thing we didn't mention about Raleigh is that he's walking at the highest
15%
clip of his
clip.
career. It's a very very good OBP guy now too.
So, if I remember correctly, I do not remember correctly. Um, there is one player that was being intentionally walked more than Judge, and for some reason I thought it was Raleigh, but it's not. Um, is now it's nobody. Now it's just straight up Judge, but it was Kyle Tucker at the time.
Wait, what was that? I missed that.
Intentional walks.
Oh,
Like I feel like Raleigh's about to start getting the intentional walk treatment here. He's uh, got 3 of them so far this year, which has him in the top 10. But I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, the 3 most intentionally walked guys are Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and Cal Raleigh.
yeah, yeah. I think to your point, very early in this episode, you mentioned that Seattle is one of your biggest surprises for the year, that their offense has been so good. What if I told you that in the month of May, they were 17th in the league in WRC plus with a 99, and that's with Big Dumper just going off in the
Okay,
month.
that is starting to make some sense.
Yeah. So he's a big explanation for Seattle, and it seems like their first month of the year sort of carried them, and they've come back down to earth in the last month.
So Big
So
Dumper is partially responsible for 84 runs out of the 296. What it was? 294 that the Mariners have. He is at least partially responsible. Oh no, I guess I have to subtract out the home runs because his runs scored and RBIs are going to be the same. Like 60 runs. Um but that's a very large percentage of their runs.
mhm. Yep.
45 ribbies, 39 runs scored, 23 homers. So he's only scored 16 times that he didn't drive himself in.
Sorry guys. Sorry, Big Dumper. We got to get you some better teammates.
Yeah. Come on, JP. Start hitting for power.
Come on. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's going to be an extremely fun story to watch, I think, for the rest of the year, to see how Big Dumper uh, tries to keep up his pace, his torrid pace. Uh, we will be watching that and all these other things. And we've got exciting June baseball ahead of us. So thank you so much for joining us on this podcast, and we will talk to you next time. If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.